Hello, welcome everybody. Welcome. Nice to have you here today. Uh, Hope the weather is good where you are. We just asked that there. And if it's terrible, it'll get better. So my name is Sebastian and I'm the CEO at FPP. And thank you very much for joining us today on this presentation on the FPP annual plans. These annual plans were introduced early this year in June. And it's a new way that we found for making booking recruitment events much easier and much more convenient for you, because as you know, recruitment events have changed and it's time for the way that you book them to change as well. So for explaining absolutely everything about annual plans, we have here my two colleagues, one joining us from Montreal, the other one from New Jersey. And before just passing it on to Caro and to Ryan, feel free to make any question during this live here on the right-hand side. You can chat. We'll be putting a couple of polls now during the presentation. And if you have absolutely any question, do let us know. So now, yes, with Caro and Ryan, off to you.
Thanks, Sebastian. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Caroline, and I'm the Regional Director at FPP for Canada. I'm happy to be with you today, and along with my colleague Ryan, we will be here today to tell you a bit more about our new annual plans.
And hello, everyone. It's great to be here as well. I look forward to this opportunity to talk about our annual plans with you. As Caroline mentioned, my name is Ryan. I'm also the regional director, but for the U.S. market, I primarily cover, I want to say more the Western states, but do have a few states throughout the East, South, and Midwest as well. With that note, we'll get things started here. So we'll go back to Caroline and go over why annual plans can help your recruitment.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. So as Sebastian mentioned earlier, we created those new annual plans because recruitment events have changed. So we thought that it was also a good timing for us to change the way that you can book events. As you may remember, before the pandemic, when you were booking regular tours with us, let's say that you were joining us in Latin America, you were booking perhaps the entire tour or a few different cities. You used to have to book a hotel, a flight, perhaps get some visas, airport transportation, ship your brochures to the different locations. So now with virtual events, you have a lot more flexibility and you don't need to do this added logistics. So we created the annual plans to also give you more flexibility in the way that you book your events. So with those annual plans, you can book events at any time. You can add any type of events, which is also lowering the cost per event. And you also get, on top of that, extra features that are allowing us to reaching out to your audience in a few different ways as well. So I will let Ryan go over the different annual plan options, and then we'll talk a bit more about some of the extra features that you get.
Okay, great. Yes. Yeah, and as Caroline mentioned, our annual plans are definitely great for increasing your exposure throughout the world or in specific regions. And while having flexibility as when to book them upon availability, of course, and of course, reducing your overall recruitment costs. So we do have 4 different plans within our annual plan. Within our annual plan. The first one is our starter package, which is 15 events. You do get 1 social media campaign and a 5% discount on our rental platform. Right after I go through these packages, Caroline will touch on the various events and extra benefits of each package. So the starter package is definitely, say, for schools with presence maybe in, say, 3 or 4 different regions where they can do events about maybe 2 to 3 times per semester, or say, so a total of, say, 5 to 6 events a year in each region, covering their target markets. The price for the starter package is $19,500. If you are considering the starter package, you may want to also consider the intermediate package, as it's only $2,500 more at $22,000, but you get 5 extra events. So you get a total of 20 events. And with that, you do get an extra bonus as well of 1 event sponsorship, which helps drive traffic to your booth during a fair, which Caroline, of course, will discuss more as well too. Up next is our advanced package, which has 30 packages. This is definitely, I want to say, for schools that have established presence or are wanting to build a presence, probably somewhere between about 7 to 8 markets, where they once again can do, say, 3 or 4 events in each market each semester, and to really help build up their name brand and connect with students in those regions. The price of that package is $28,500. And then our final package is our top recruiter package, where you get 50 events included. So I want to say this is for schools that have already established that global presence or are looking to build and obtain that global presence across all markets throughout the world to increase their international student populations or diversify their international student populations. The price of this package is $42,000, and you do get a number of extra benefits as well, including 2 social media campaigns, 2 event sponsorships, 1 live session, 1 webinar, and a 20% discount on the platform rental. And with that, now Caroline will go over the details of the extra benefits and events that are included.
Okay, thank you, Ryan. So today we're talking about annual plans, but it's important also to mention that our regular discounts are also still available. So the early bird rate or the multi-event discount. So when you register for 3 events, you also get a 4th free. So those other options are still available, but the annual plans are a new option to give you that flexibility. A little bit later today, Ryan will also go over the different events that we have coming up. So when you go with an annual plan, you can book any event that you want. So it can be, for example, a virtual fair, a high school session, or a counselor workshop, and you can book them at any time. So you can book your events when you decide to go with the annual plan, or you can also book the events a bit later. So your annual plan will last for 12 months, and the start date of the annual plan is the date of the first event that you pick as part of this annual plan. So over the 12 months, you will have the chance to book your 15, 20 or so on events, and also to use the different extra features. So if we go back to those extra features, so depending on the package that you choose, you get 1, 2, 3 added features. One of them, for example, can be the live sessions. And I'm happy to talk about them today because we actually just started this semester's live sessions again this week with a great session with Glendon campus at York University. So if you do a live session with us, it will be basically a informal interview between our host, Carlos, and up to 3 members of your team. So those live sessions are happening on the Student World channel on YouTube, and also can be streamed on Facebook. So basically, you institutions, you know us as FPP, but the students know us as the Student World, which is our student-facing brand. So if you want to have a quick look at the social media for the Student World, now our YouTube channel has over 18,000 subscribers. Our Facebook has over 2.2 million likes and followers. And on Instagram, we have almost reached 410 followers. So we have an entire team here at FPP that is dedicated to basically help students achieve their study abroad dreams or project by giving them information about how to make these plans happen, basically. So back to the live sessions. So the live session will be an hour long, informal interview style with our host, Carlos. And basically those live sessions are taking place every Tuesdays now at 6 p.m. UTC. Another option or extra feature that you get, depending on the annual package that you pick, can also be a social media campaign. So we can post a video or pictures with a message of your choice on our Facebook and Instagram channels to reach 100,000 views. So you can choose your message, you let us know when you would like to start your campaign, and we will reach out to your desired audience for you. Another option would be an event sponsorship, where basically you pick the event that is of interest to you. We have to double check if it's available, of course, but we can have up to 3 sponsors per event. And you get your logo and a link on the registration confirmation emails that students receive when they register to attend an event with us. And you also get your logo and a link to your virtual booth in the lobby of a virtual fairs. So when students enter the platform on the day of the event, they will see your logo and be able to click and go straight to your virtual booth and talk to you and the other representatives of your institution. Another option that can be included as part of an annual plan would be the webinar. So for the webinar, you can choose your audience. So if you want to do a webinar for the Brazil market, for example, so we will promote your webinar. You will have the regular presentation and Q&A with students. The advantage of the webinar is that you can keep the contact details of the students after the presentation to follow up with them. And one option that is included in each and every annual plan is the discount on the FPP virtual fair platform. So as you may know, the FPP virtual fair platform is our own. So it was developed by our team a few years ago already. So it is possible for your institution to rent the platform to organize your own event. So some universities like Lakehead University in Canada, University of Saskatchewan, I believe Tilburg has also done it to organize, for example, open house events. So we can customize the platform to you. And basically you will be able to organize your event using our technology. Bologna has also done this virtual fair platform rental with us, and also it has been available for governments interested to plan their own events as well. So this is a quick overview of the extra features that are included with the different annual plans. We can certainly go into more details with you. You can always contact your FPP representatives and they will be able to give you more details. So now I was mentioning a bit earlier that one of the advantages that you get when you choose an annual plan is that you can book any type of events. So Ryan is going to go over basically the upcoming events that are coming up and the different type of events with you.
All right, thank you, thank you. Yeah, so we just updated our website, fpp.world. And if you go under events, we have all of our events now listed through the end of 2022. As you can see, we have the dates listed, the markets they're targeting, the event type, of course, pricing, and availability. And as you can see, we do have events all throughout spring and going all the way to, the first part of 2022, as well as to the end of 2022 as well throughout October through December. We do have various types of events listed. One of them are kind of our standard virtual fair, where if you're looking to recruit really any student from, whether it's for, say, English, ESL, to certificate programs, undergraduate programs, to even graduate programs. Those would be great options for you too. If you're looking for primarily undergrad students, our high school sessions are always a great option. Here, we work with specifically chosen high schools within the region. They invite their students to attend the session, and these high schools that we're working with, they are very much known for sending students abroad and having students looking to study abroad. So if, once again, if you're really looking for undergraduate students, those are always a great option. As well as we also have counselor workshops where you get to meet the high school counselors at specifically chosen high schools that are once again are known for sending students abroad. So 3 different types of fairs to really help your recruitment efforts and target various levels of study. One I should also point out, when you do hover over the market, it does list the countries those target. So like if we take Africa, countries included in the fair would be like Cameroon, Ghana, Kenya, Madagascar, and a number of others as well. So you can always check that out. As mentioned, there's the event type. Pricing is listed, as Caroline mentioned. We still have our early bird pricing for next year available, even for the events in, say, January and February, as well as the availability. All of our events next year have high availability, so currently there should be no issues getting into one of them. And just to mention, at the top of our website, we do have a filter option. So say if you are only looking for high school sessions, you can put in the event type of high school sessions, and that pulls up the full list of high school sessions throughout next year. Or if you would like to just pull up events by region, you can pull up events by Africa and see all the events in that region for you to book that away. So on that note, we'll pass it back over to Carolyn to go over pretty much the main points about booking and how it works.
Yeah, thank you, Ryan. So just as a summary, basically, if you are interested to book an annual plan or to know more about that, you can either reach out directly to your FPP representative, or you can also reach out to us through our website, and we'll be getting in touch with you. So basically, these annual plans allow you to join any event of your choice based on availability and eligibility, of course. So the annual plans, they last for 12 months. So you have 12 months starting from your first event date to use the number of events that is included in your annual plan, as well as the extra features. So I believe this is a quick overview of what the annual plans are. So perhaps we can have a look at some of the questions that we've been receiving.
Hey, thank you, Caro. Thank you, Ryan. That was a great overview of the annual plans. And as you said, we're open now for questions. So if anyone has any question, please feel free to write them down on the chat section. But before going into that, I just wanted to remind everybody here that at FPP, we have decided in February this year, well, we decided it sooner, but we announced it in February 2021 that we are going virtual for good. The vision we have for the next, not 1 year, 2 years, but 10 years, 15 years, 20 years in future, we don't see physical events bringing value to the student, and well, actually the opposite. Physical events are great. The point is virtual events bring more value because they eliminate the travel. We can interact. They democratize the access for students. Rather than just getting to one city, we get to more cities. And basically the students themselves, they are digital natives born with a smartphone in their hands. And we see that the way that students are going to choose for international student opportunity is online. So that's why at FPP we're concentrating into virtual events as the main source to do what we were doing before the pandemic and what we will continue to do, which is bond the world, to continue bonding students with universities, universities with counselors, counselors with colleges, and so on. So just reminding everybody that. And that's why also in the virtual world, we have all the events announced from now until all the way until the end of 2022. So when you book an annual plan, you can already see all the event listing that we have. And as Caro said, this adds a lot of flexibility into that. And one of the polls that we had here was asking how far in advance you plan for your recruitment. And I believe that during these crazy times, you cannot plan far in advance. But before the pandemic, you could plan way ahead, and then changing plans was complicated. So now with the annual plans that we're bringing, you can swap between events very, very easily. So I'll shut up and we'll start taking some questions in. Maybe, Caro, you can cover one.
Yes, yes. So we have one from Stefan from Warwick in the UK. Hi, Stefan. Thanks for joining us. He's asking, before booking events, do you have statistics available on attendance at previous comparable events? Yes, we actually have statistics about all our past events. If you already have a FPP Hub account, you can have access to some of the general statistics about past events. But we can also share them with you directly. If you have a question about a specific event in a specific market, we can see, for example, we can share with you the number of students who have joined, from which countries, from how many cities. We can share a lot of statistics about past events.
Definitely data is good to look at before deciding on what fairs and events to attend. Absolutely.
And we then have Anita asking, do you have all the plans with their details listed on your website? So yes, maybe Sebas can add the link there on the chat, but yes, you can see all the details for the starter, intermediate, advanced, and top recruiter plan. Everything is very clearly outlined on the website. Then Russell, good question. I may pass it to Sebastian to see what he thinks, but basically Russell is referring to face-to-face or events, the events that we used to have before. Institutions used to get walk-by traffic. So this is something that is a bit lost when we have now virtual events. So how can FPP help overcome this moving forward?
Yeah, thank you, Karen, and I'm glad to pick that one. What we are working in developing and adding, it's already in part of our platform, but we're improving that a lot, is matching. Because what we need to bring for both you and the students here, everything we do at FPP, we have the student in the center of everything. Not because without the students, none of us would have a job. We would not exist without the students. So what can we bring to the student to make him find the best school for them? And that's matching, is what that student is looking for with certain parameters, with certain criteria, and match them automatically with the best institution to fit their needs. So that's one way to get you traffic that normally we would not get, because maybe they don't know about your school and they go for the big names. So by matching and by asking you good information, and that's why if you build an FPP virtual booth, sometimes we get kind of complaints about that. It's like, well, building the booth is too long, because especially the list of programs is too long. Well, that's it's used for exactly that, for the students to be able to search and go into the platform and say, hey, I want to study marketing. Let me show me the institutions that offer this major, because that's why we believe that virtual fairs should not be just a Zoom call. Unfortunately, during the pandemic, many people said, oh, a virtual fair, let's do a virtual fair, and they just did it on Zoom. Well, that's not a virtual fair. That's just a meeting. Zoom is a great tool, but for meetings. And that's why in the platform that we developed, we created a lot of features for the student to find the right institution. And the feature that we're adding very soon to that is matching. So the student fills in some information, and with that, we match them perfectly. Well, not perfectly, but we list the institutions that he should visit in terms of matching. So that's the way for forcing that way of traffic to them. And that's the vision that we have, again, in the next years. Technology will get improving. We are improving our platform. Other technology will improve as well, and we'll be able to have this in a much better context. So that's exactly what we envision. Not sure if you saw the launch of what Mark Zuckerberg calls the metaverse in the future, but it's pretty interesting. As the computers change our life, now the virtual and augmented reality will change it again. So that's why we believe that virtual interaction for the process of finding a university will be the key for the future, rather than the physical interaction. And that's why we are investing all our energy into those. So sorry for keeping it too long. I talk too much.
Thanks, Sebas. David is saying, thanks for the presentation. In our experience of virtual events in comparison with the previous fairs is that they are not as effective. Will there be no physical FPP fair options at all? The FPP events will remain virtual. That being said, if we were getting a request from a government or an association to organize an in-person fair, FPP is equipped to organize these fairs again in the future.
Yeah.
Is that the right answer, Sebastian?
That's the right answer, David. But also another right answer is, unfortunately, many institutions compared physical events to virtual during crazy times. And I believe that there's no fair comparison on 2020 and 2021. It's now that we can say that almost the pandemic is starting to be over, that some countries have open borders. Like, for example, here in my country, we opened borders literally 3 days ago. 3 days ago. There's some countries that are still closed, like Australia. So there's no fair comparison between virtual and physical before and during the pandemic, because with economies being shrinking, with a lot of people seeing their income reduce, with extreme uncertainty on if the classes would be virtual or in person, then David, not sure if you have kids, but let's say you have kids and you were considering sending your kids for university overseas. Would you do it during the pandemic, or would you wait a little bit until it's a little bit over? So again, it's no fair comparison in my opinion. What we are certain is that the kids that will be choosing universities in the next 3 or 4 years were the same kids that were born with the iPhone. The first iPhone that probably many of you have, and if you don't have an iPhone, you most certainly have a smartphone. The first smartphone was born in 2007, 14 years ago, no more than that. And you can see how these little devices have transformed our life. So everybody probably in this session, we were all born way before that. How do you think the kids that were born exactly the same year as the first smartphones will think? They're natives to that. They will not need a physical brochure. They will even question that to say, what, you were using paper?
What about the environment?
Exactly. You are using paper to transfer information. What for? You don't need a piece of paper when you can have the information digitally. Same thing, like I saw that recently. It's like there were phones in the streets, like, the pay phones, the typical, that they're normal to us. But now kids say, what do you need a phone in the street for? Because now you have a mobile phone in your pocket. So those things that are normal to us, they're not normal to them. And those students are the ones that are going to set the pace for what's going to be in the future. And the environment is a key part there, because this way of recruitment is extremely more sustainable than the past way of recruitment. And we know that the Generation Z has the environment as a key piece of their agenda.
Yeah, but thank you, David, for your comments on our platform as well. Thank you for your questions, and yeah, I think it will be interesting to see how the physical fairs from after the pandemic compare to the ones prior to the pandemic as well.
Mm-hmm. And I would definitely want to say, and with any, say, recruitment strategy, and I guess with everything in life, you always want balance. Yes, physical fairs, events will come back around, but can you really deny, like, today's generation that are living online and everything they do digitally? You need a presence in both areas. Like I said, having balance, and to have the optimal recruitment strategy possible.
Mm-hmm. We have another question from Stefan, who's asking if we're collecting feedback from students on how they find the digital events, including whether they get the information they need from the institutions that are attending those fairs. When was the last survey that we did with students?
We did a big one last year with all our entire database, and we were asking them if they would find online a good option, and definitely the response was positive. We have done surveys on the specific events, and definitely the students do find the right information. Some students are harder to get used to that, but also taking what I was explaining before. For the students, it was too much during the past 2 years because everything was virtual, and there's a real virtual fatigue on students as well. With the pandemic being over, because even birthdays have been virtual, and that's not okay. So with that being over, we believe that virtual is going to remain for what's really adding value to the student. And when a student is deciding on choosing a university overseas, that he can have like basically two options. It's like if they live in a small city, they basically have no option, because those students that were living in smaller cities were never being able to contact institutions from overseas, because those universities were never visiting their cities in small towns and so on. So the ones that live in bigger cities that normally have physical events, that's fair, but will they neglect their options to just those universities that are in one event? Now the students know they have a world of opportunities, and they will definitely research. So we want to be there helping students in the process of finding the best university and adding them value, and that's part of matching them with the right institution for them, so they don't spend hours and hours and hours and hours researching, but we try to find them the best match.
We have another question asking about the results that universities have from using our platform, and how many students I believe that are going through our fairs are actually going to the universities afterwards. I believe that unfortunately we do not have this information because then we would need to require each of you attending our events to tell us exactly how many students have registered at your institutions following your participation at our events. So I would say that we do not have this information. I don't know, Sebastien, if you want to add something or...
No, exactly what you said, Caro, correct. Unfortunately, we don't have that information because that depends to each institution and also how each institution tracks their return of investment and how they do their tracking. Sometimes there's a combination of factors that makes a student decide and apply. There's no one single event or one single point of contact between the university and the student that makes that decision. What we believe is that virtual events are a great way to be on the top of the funnel, collecting leads, and then of course that will narrow down into a more specific funnel. That for that situation, for example, travel will be fantastic, and that's traveling to in a specific city and then meeting those 20 students that you have been already in contact, and you met them probably at a virtual event. Because that's the moment of having that face-to-face interaction, rather than what it was before, that was traveling to a city to meet a student for the first time ever.
Yeah, I guess this is maybe a bit of a follow-up answer as well from, I believe it was David saying that people will... university recruiters will want to continue to travel to meet the students. And what we think is that, yes, indeed, recruiters will continue to travel, but they may travel at a different step of the recruitment funnel. So prior to the pandemic, they used to attend in-person events to meet face-to-face with hundreds and hundreds of students, perhaps at an in-person fair, to get the student leads. Now we think that people will continue to travel, maybe less often, and maybe later on when they have met the students, they have had conversation, they've done their follow-up, and now they're down to a smaller number of students, and they will go and meet face-to-face with the students that are about to register to their university. I see one more question: how international students and their parents know about your apps or website to connect with us, with institutions. So they would hear from us, from the student world, from our Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube channels. Now I wish we had someone from the marketing team joining us. Sebas or Ryan, do you want to add a bit more about our social media channel and everything we do about with regards to marketing or reaching out to students, the videos on Instagram and all this?
I'll take it on there, Caro. I just shared with everybody here in the audience the link that goes to our student-facing brand, which is the Student World. FPP is the name we use to engage with you, the universities and the governments and institutions. But for students, we are the Student World. This is the brand that we use for them. With more than 2 million followers on Facebook. We just reached 400,000 on Instagram. We do weekly lives on our YouTube channel. So for the students and parents, we are the Student World, and that's how we promote to them that anywhere they want to study, we can help them. And basically, we're just a bridge. The Student World is just a bridge between the student and the institutions. We help them find the right options, but we are not like they cannot apply with us. We are not an agency. We just make that connection between them through the events and through our different channels. So that the Student World is our name towards the student.
Do we have any other questions before we finish this session? Maybe we can wait another minute or so.
I think there's no more questions. I think there's no more questions.
Okay, great. Well, Thank you for joining us today. It was a pleasure to be with you and to give you a bit more details about the FPP annual plans and the different events that are coming up. If you would like to have more information about these, you can, as I said earlier, contact your FPP representative directly or go through our website to reach out to us.
Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Caro, and see you next time.